All right, it's time for our final recap, part three of women's physique and women bodybuilding. And I think no surprises, but some surprises. So stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. I'm Lenda Murray, 8 times Miss Olympia, and here with Wendy Fortino, IFBB Figure Pro. Looking forward to our final
Yep.
recap, part three of women's bodybuilding and women's physique. And boy,
Yep.
what a some surprises and then no
Yeah.
surprise, right? What would you say, Wendy?
I would agree with you. It's interesting because it's a little bit of a conundrum. We didn't really have any surprises. I mean, everything was pretty predictable. However, it still surprises us. It sounds like it doesn't make sense, but when we go over the results, you guys will see what we're talking about. I think everything that went down was pretty predictable. But you never know when you go to these shows. You never know when you go to the big shows who's going to peak perfectly. You don't know exactly how people are going to show up. Another thing is we also, a lot of times, the top physiques, we don't see them next to each other. And a lot of these physiques are so impressive by themselves. They've won big shows. But when you go to those big stages and you see the girls next to each other, and we're going to show you some of the comparisons that might shock you as well, because these women are so impressive by themselves. And then when they get side by side, that's why the large competitions, they're going to bring out the absolute best in the top competitors. And this is where we see the cream rise to the top.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say, when I say no surprise, I would think, well, for sure, talking about Andrea Shaw. For me, it was no surprise that she was going to come out victorious. We got to see her at the Rising Phoenix. I saw her, prior to, she was laser focused. And she just kind of like so far ahead with her level of muscle. And then I'm going to say, to me, as far as with Natalia winning the women's physique, well, she's won before. So
Yep.
you know what I mean? So we know, and I would think if you're Sarah Villegas, if that's happened, and if you're honest and you're the champion, you know it can happen again, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yep.
then I guess let's get started with women's bodybuilding and break it down.
Yeah. We're gonna go into the women's physique because there was a lot that went down there, and we're gonna go ahead and start with our female bodybuilders. So
Yeah.
we have Andrea Shaw, and Andrea Shaw is nipping on your heels of that record of 8.
Yes, yes, yes. She is 6. It's huge.
She's at number 6 now, and she's looking better and better every time.
She is.
Ashley Jones, she's got this perfect little package, and I've been expecting her to be up there battling it out. It was so cool to see her up there battling with Andrea Shaw. I loved seeing that. We're going to go over that. Lavinia Barros, who is 3rd. Angela Yo, who dropped a little bit to 4th, but not to be, let down. I mean, she's still on the rise, and she's still nipping Andrea's heels, and I hope that she keeps her head up about that. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Alicione Barreto, number 5. Melissa Teich. Natalia
Yeah, Melissa
Kovaleva.
Tech. Yeah.
Natalia Kovaleva, she was 7th. And then we had Nadia, Tiana, and Hunter rounding out the top 10.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So I guess if you want to queue up a call out or something, we can kind of start to talk about that. I'm going to say, as you were going through that list, the surprise for me, of course, like I said, I just knew that Andrea Shaw was going to win. And the surprise for me, honestly, was Ashley Jones placing 2nd.
Yeah.
And the reason that it was a surprise. It's not that she doesn't have the ability to be there, not that she doesn't have the ability and the shape and the size and the structure to win the Olympia. But what was surprising for me is because I was part of the Olympia battle,
Yeah.
and it was a big difference in her conditioning. And I think we were like about 4 weeks out from the Olympia, and it was such a major turnaround she made. And that 4 weeks, it was remarkable. When I tell you, when I saw her at the, I said, and she probably knows this, and but she just, the conditioning wasn't there where I expected to be when you're 4 weeks out from the Olympia. And if you go back and you look at the battle, you'll see a big difference in Angie Yo's conditioning at that time, and of course, Andrea Shaw. She had just come off of her win, and also the conditioning of Natalia Kovaleva at that time. All three of them, they were more in position where I would have not said that Ashley was going to catch Angie or even Natalia. And she did. She blew me away with what she brought and how she caught up in that 4 weeks.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up right now, the battle.
Yeah.
So I have Ashley Jones, and I have and Shaw pulled up there. But here we have is what you're talking about.
Yes. So if you look at this battle, let's look at the battle and look at Ashley. And one of my signs for bodybuilders, especially any of us, when you're 4 weeks out, and when I go and I look at your back and I look at I should see sharpness between the shoulders and the triceps and the biceps, and it wasn't there. You know what I mean?
4 weeks out.
Like, right, in comparison to what up close and personal. Now, this is on video, but the separation and the what was going on in the upper body of the other three competitors at the Olympia battle, they were much sharper. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when you're a woman, and especially if you have the structure that Ashley has, beautiful structure, usually your lower body's going to be the last to come in. But if I see you and you're 4 weeks out and your upper body's not where I think, or where, then I know, okay, my first assumption is you're in trouble, right? So that was my thought. So what I would say in regards to this is, and I'm not sure who her trainer is, I understand. I'm going to say I understand her physique, because when you have those beautiful lines and that beautiful structure and that genetic gift there, sometimes it's really challenging. Like, you don't come in as sharp and crisp in the lower that you really need to. If she figures out like whatever she needs to do to be like not at the battle and be sharp, and be there and be sharp, and you lost muscle in the quest for being leaner, but you got to really figure out in bodybuilding how to maintain muscle and just lose body fat, and do that diet 20 weeks out, 16 weeks out, do what you need to do in the off season so that you can gradually land that plane and arrive. If she can do that, if she could do what she did in the 4 weeks to get to this stage and get second, and my God, she could win.
Yeah.
She could win. And that's what that's my message to Ashley, and what I saw. I think that's enough on that one.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this really fast, okay? Because this is interesting. Do you think that some athletes, just especially some that are like that genetically gifted, just do better when they're doing a crash exam? You know what I mean? I think some people thrive on the sense of urgency. And I've seen this with athletes that have, it catches up to you over time, I think. But I think that some athletes, they do are able to dig deeper for a short period of time, then they are able to extend that digging deep over a long period of time. And I've seen cream rise to the top like this before, and it's interesting. You have to be very genetically gifted in order for that to work, but it's still a lot of hard work.
It's still a lot of hard work. It really is. 4 weeks out, the mental stress of not being there, the fact that you show up, you're doing the battle, you can see Ms. Olympia up close, Andrea Shaw, you see NGO up close. So you have this urgency, but at the same time, you still have to stay focused and stay on your path of what you need to do, and knowing, obviously, your body, and knowing and being confident that, look, I'm going to step on the Olympia stage. I know my physique. I know what I'm going to look like, because I've been there before. I've guest posed 4 weeks out from a show, and I had the judges say to me, Lenda, you're behind. You need to catch up. And I was like, hey, listen, I know my body, right? However, to your point, I think that when you do have athletes that are gifted, you don't really know how gifted you are until things start to go awry. You know what I mean? you really don't realize that. You think you're working hard. You think, and then you realize, like, wow, I really didn't know how to train calves. My calves are just, whereas you get someone who brought their calves up. You get someone who's been on their diet, and they strategically, they can't afford to do no fast, quick, running fast, you know what I mean, to make up for. So you don't know. And that's what happens to you. That happens to a lot of our champions,
Right.
So
Yep. And we have Lavinia and Angela here. Angela Yo. Okay, so tell me your thoughts on Angela. What do you think it was? Lavinia's shape looks incredible. Wow.
As
soon as she hit that front box pose when they did the first call out, I was like, wow, I have never seen Lavinia look so on point ever. But let's talk about Angela, because she is somebody she is the only person, I believe, to beat Andrea Shaw. Am I mistaken on that? Because she won the Rising Phoenix. So we've all been.
You're correct. Since Andrea winning that title of Miss Olympia, the only athlete that's beat her is Angie.
So she holds that feather in her cap, and that should give her some confidence going on the stage. But what do you think it was, Lenda, that dropped her to fourth?
Yeah, I think I'm going to say this would be also another surprise, but also not a surprise when it comes to where Angie placed fourth, Lavinia placing third, Ashley placing second. What I see is that really, like, Angie Yo is an example of that athlete that maybe doesn't have all the genetic big, she's not a big framed woman. She's not, but what she has consistently done is she's put on muscle. She's always conditioned. It's never a question that she's, not tight, and working with all the tools that she has. In Lavinia's case and in Ashley's case, they're an example of having some genetic gifts that they just started to say, hey, let me come in sharper. Let me get on that conditioning. And also you look at with Ashley, her growing pains of going from women's physique into women's bodybuilding. So we knew, and I've always said with Lavinia, if you look at Lavinia there, her back development to me is better than Andrea Shaw. It's better than Angie Yo. She has one of the best to me as far as the density, the size on her back. And I've said she is the one that's more in position to go in and challenge Andrea Shaw, because she has the structure, the size, she has the shape. You see what I mean? When you look at her there from the rear, I mean, she
Yeah,
brought it, you know.
right.
So yeah.
Her physique really flows, and I think that this is where you see incredible athletes, and then they all get compared, and this is where things start getting exposed. But that's a good thing, because a competitor like Angela Yo is going to be compared to somebody who maybe is superior in a body part. She's going to go to the drawing board, and she's going to do what she needs to do to battle it out and rise to the top, right?
That's
And
right.
in here, I mean, I think there are a couple things. You know a detail that I was noticing is I noticed she has gemstones on her sides. And one thing with women that I noticed is that's really hard you can't glue that down. So they're gonna drop, and this is an advantage that a competitor like Lavinia is gonna have, where she has her sides up high to make her waist look smaller, and those little details really matter, you know. The gemstones dropping is going to make the waist look a little wider, and then that makes the legs look a little shorter too. So if she got her sides up higher, her waist would look smaller and her legs would look longer. And I think would that be enough to make things different? I don't know,
Yeah,
but it's a detail that I think would
what's
matter.
interesting is that you bring that up. I know that she was having an issue with her suit, and I don't think the suit that she planned to wear got to her in time. I heard she was devastated and she followed through. Now I learned that from
Oh,
someone that was filming, and she was really upset by that. So maybe that's what
mm.
happened. It's interesting that you point that out, but I heard that she did not wear the suit that she planned to wear.
Oh,
Yeah.
bummer. Yeah, that's
Interesting.
a
Right.
bummer. It does look a little bit more like a wellness suit,
It
you
does.
know? I would say, especially the female bodybuilders, the female physique competitors, and the female figure competitors, as you build your legs and as you build muscle, it's inevitable that your waist is going to be harder to stay small. Whereas, some of the other divisions where you're not having to build those large muscle groups, you're not necessarily having to force recruitment in your midsection like these divisions. So it becomes more imperative that we find those little tricks of the trade to emphasize the V taper as much as possible. The suit placement is key. It is such a critical component of that.
Okay. I agree. I
Um,
agree.
but I
So
mean,
look at
everyone looks great. Yeah.
yeah, they really, I mean, just a great lineup. And then what about, let's look at Alcione Barreto against Melissa Tech.
All right.
Melissa
Let me
Tech
pull that
moved,
up.
yeah, Melissa Tech moved from women's physique. I believe last year she did not compete at the Olympia. Um, and both of these ladies, Alcione to the left, she put on some size. She improved her placing this year in comparison to last year. But the year prior, 2023, I believe she placed third in the world. So she was third to Andrea Shaw because her conditioning was so on point. I believe she
Right.
placed third, yes. And Melissa took a break. And Melissa, again, she's known for her conditioning, and she brought it. Both of these ladies are
Oh, yeah.
really known for their conditioning, and they had to make the transition from having that women's physique mentality and putting on muscle and bringing the conditioning.
Yes. Alcyone, she's kept her waist really tiny, which is awesome. Melissa really, she really stood out to me. I felt like her overall shape and flow was really, really good. She started to build her legs a little bit more. I think that even a little bit more development is going to make her battle it out even more. She has small joints, so the better she develops her muscle, the more impressive she's going to look.
Yeah, yeah. Because her waistline, in looking at the two here, she doesn't have as small of a waistline as we see on Alcyone, or her waistline's not as small as Andrea Shaw or Ashley. And what you're saying, adding that size just a
Yeah.
little bit does help, right?
Mm-hmm. Like once she gets her thighs to touch, she's gonna be money. She's gonna be
Okay,
like,
I got it. I see what you're
Alcyone.
saying.
Yeah, I think Alcyone actually has more in her if she dropped her lats a little bit, because there's a lot there. If she's
Mhm.
almost pulling her arms up a little bit too high, if she dropped
Yep.
that,
Yeah,
I think it would make her shape look even more incredible.
I do see that. I do see that. Yeah, because it does make a difference when you're doing the front double bicep
Yeah.
and in comparison to when you're doing your back double bicep. Those two poses, even though those arms are raised, it's like kind of what you're saying. Yeah. Wow. Yep.
Yeah. A lot of depth in both of their backs.
Yes. Great conditioning. And I love Melissa Tech's structure here.
I
It's
know,
really good.
it's
Like her
so
waistline
nice.
looks really small from the rear.
Yeah, yeah. I think she's somebody who is to watch for sure. The more that her body develops, I think the more impressive she's gonna look. If she can
Mhm.
keep that waist nice and tiny like it is, as she builds around it, I think we're gonna see something that's gonna really battle with the top for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of our guests says that our audio is going in and out. I hope it's
Oh
still
no.
pretty good. Maybe you
Uh-oh.
can let us
Let us know.
know. 305
Yeah.
Nika. Thank you for letting us know. We appreciate you.
It
So
sounded like
then,
your voice was going kind of quiet, but I still heard everything you said. It
okay,
just,
okay. I'll make sure that I'm looking here to see if is there
but I
anything I can
still,
do.
all
Yeah.
right.
And you know, I lost my voice at the Olympia. I'm sure a lot of people heard that. It was horrible doing pay-per-view because I wanted to talk, but sometimes you're at these shows and the music's so loud and you're talking and
Uh,
you're straining your voice, and it is what it is, but
I don't
I'm
know.
recovering.
I think it's
So,
sexy and sultry.
do you? Okay. Thank you. I'll take
I
that.
think, yeah, I think it's more like kind of sounds sexy and sultry when you start losing it.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So
All
let's now
right.
look
Okay,
at
so
Natalia and Nadia. Do you want to talk about them? Because
sure.
Natalia
Yep.
placed third at the Rising Phoenix to Andrea Shaw. And you'll see from the pictures, uh I feel like, you know, like from the front, Natalia, she looked great. Natalia's getting better. And that was the best picture from the Olympia. So I'm going to make this point about the pics that we see here. Both of these photos came from the same show, the Olympia. And what I noticed with um, Nadia is that Nadia did not provide a picture of herself. She did not do a front double bicep straight on.
Mm-hmm.
And that means most likely she didn't do it because the
Yeah.
photographer didn't capture it. In the
Right.
case with Natalia, when Natalia did her presentation, she did not do a back double bicep because that was her weakness. So in a
Mm,
sense, you see what I mean?
yeah.
And a lot of times when you're looking at photos and you're capturing the photos, the photographers are clicking fast. They're clicking fast. So if you did a front double bicep, I'm going to see a front double bicep straight on.
Right.
And I'll see
Right.
Nadia did not do that. Nadia brought the conditioning, but when she does a front double bicep, she's trying to do something similar to what we see in women's physique. And she should have a front double bicep with her legs extended the same way we see with Natalia. So
I
she didn't
agree.
do that. She didn't do that.
Well, the
Mhm.
interesting thing about it is I don't actually think that that's the most flattering angle. The way that I get pulling your hips to the back corner and then flaring the quad out, but I think maybe because you don't have a mirror in front of you, you can't see. If she pulled that leg out, we would see her quad sweep more, but it's actually making her legs
Yes.
a little bit smaller the way she has
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Um, you know what I mean? So I think she actually
Uh-huh.
shortchanged herself on that
She
pose.
did. She did. She did. Yeah. And
Unfortunate.
yeah, so you know, I think that um really Natalia beat her on her size. Her
Yeah.
front pose was to me better. She did a better
Yeah.
presentation. Nadia beat her on to the rear. Nadia was definitely tighter. She was very conditioned. Nadia was conditioned. So it wasn't about her condition, because you can see that right there. So
Okay.
she has the size. And again, these photos, they
Yeah.
came from the same show. And
Yeah.
you can see there at the night show, that's when Natalia did do a back double bicep. But and again, Natalia's very uh she has not really she's had a lot of success as far as getting to winning some shows and getting to the big
Mhm.
stage. But she hasn't like dieted down enough for her body to do what it needs to do, especially on women. When we turn to the rear, that's where we have our challenge. So that's
You
my
know,
opinion on that.
well, she looks so good from the front.
So
That's,
good
I
from the
mean,
front.
and she's so beautiful in the face, and she
Mhm,
has a great
mhm.
shape. I
Yes.
mean, her
Yes.
flow in her front shot is so good that it's
It
really
is.
carrying her so far. I mean, to get top
Mhm,
7 and
mhm.
to, be, missing a little back here, it
Yes.
just really is testament to how strong her front really is. But I
Correct.
almost wonder if there's more that she could pull out just with posing, because I feel like
Mhm.
the activation here, some women, have a hard time just activating it. It's
Yes.
there, but it's a matter of, and I think too, one thing I noticed about the biceps shots is that it's called a front double bicep, it's called a back double bicep, but it really is, let's be honest, it's more about the lats than it is about the biceps. Because when you
Okay.
fan your lats out, your biceps can be pretty much relaxed if your emphasis is in your lats, because the judges want to see the X frame. They don't want to see the
Mhm.
bicep flexing, because then your mind is connected to your bicep, and then your lats could be totally turned off, and
Mhm.
then you're throwing off the shape. So,
Okay.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%, and
Yeah,
I mean, it's always been challenging. The back double bicep is one of the anything from the back and the rear to me is one of the most challenging poses across the board for all of us, because who feels their back? It takes time to learn how to feel your back. And I think in Natalia's case, if you're not really comfortable about your conditioning from the rear, then you're kind of like, okay, let me do this pose and get it over with. Let me
yeah,
quickly do this and turn to the front. Because
yeah,
because really the reality, Natalia, how good you are from the front, that pose beats some of these girls that placed ahead of
yeah,
you. It
yeah,
beats them. The only reason that one of the reasons you place 7th is because of that the rear. Because if you look at that pose, I mean, in comparison to even Angie Yo or
yeah.
Alcyone or Melissa
Hmm.
Tech, she was right on point. So I agree.
Exactly. I know a lot of strengths going on here.
Yeah, yeah. So then what about Tiana Flex and Hunter Henderson?
All
Tiana
right.
Flex won to qualify, she won the triple O. That's Andrea Shaw and Sid Gillen's show. She won that. And then Hunter Henderson won my show. And I'm agreement with the placings here. I think like Tiana Flex, she brought it. Tiana,
Yeah.
I feel like she was sharper when she
Yeah.
won the triple O. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? She was sharper. So, because she was actually, let me think now. She did not win the triple O. Let me back. She did not win the triple O. Celica, Celica Given won the triple O. It was close between Celica and Tiana Flex.
Got it.
Tiana Flex was in incredible conditioning,
Yeah.
and her conditioning was so on point because you were at the triple O. Her
Yeah.
conditioning was so on point
On
that
point.
that's why she stands in my mind. But Celica Given, she won the triple O. Tiana Flex placed second, and then she went on to win a show to qualify to be at this year's Olympia.
Yeah.
And then there
When
you go right there. Look at that.
Yeah. Yep.
The fact
When I
that
look,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just about to say real quick, the fact that Celica is not in the top 10, but Celica beat Tiana.
Right.
You understand? So that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Yep. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So you go ahead.
No, Celica took 11th, so Tiana beat her by a couple of spots.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to say, okay, is here we're rounding the top 10 here, and we have 2 women here who are extremely genetically gifted, and they've put in the work. And it's interesting to look at, the top 5, and then you look at, 9th and 10th. It's really the thing that separates these women is really just being completely on point on the day of the show, And I think when it comes to Tiana, okay, Tiana has so much going for her. Her conditioning is on point. Her shape is incredible. I'm seeing this level of muscularity in the legs in the figure division right now. If she builds her legs, but her conditioning is obviously crazier than the figure division. If she builds more muscle throughout her whole body and keeps her waist small, she's another one who just genetically, structurally is going to be rising up there to the top. She's gonna, yeah. And then Hunter has the shape, she has the size. She just needs to get a little bit more conditioned. And so between the 2 of these women, both of them have the potential to be up in that top 5 when all the ducks are in a row. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree 100%. Agree 100%. And I have some, so many thoughts on all of this. But I think it's great lineup of women. Yep, but
See, this is
right
beautiful.
Here is obvious. Beautiful.
She's great development, great symmetry. She just needs to build a little bit more.
Right.
In the bodybuilding division, I want to make sure that I'm totally emphasizing that, because we are in the female bodybuilding division. We need to see more size. And now that there's all these divisions, there is more delineation between the divisions and the criteria. And if you're seeing a phenomenal physique, it could be the best on stage. But if it fits the criteria of more like figure and physique, and we're in the bodybuilding division, it could be the best body on stage, but they want that criteria to be met, right? In figure and physique, you could have the best body on stage, but if it looks more like a physique body or a bodybuilding body, then they have to, you know what I mean? So we're looking at more of the delineations between the divisions. And if we look at a physique as phenomenal as this with a little bit more size, we're in the money on that bodybuilding division.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're right. Yep. Yeah. So that was great. So I guess let's move on to women's physique. Where it was like, woo, and they've been talking about it, and so much has been out there on social media, going back and forth between, Sarah, mostly putting out some things in regards to Natalia, but again, like we said, Natalia has won the Olympia before, so for us, it wasn't a surprise, right? That she could do this, no question.
Well, I mean, of course. I mean, the battle has been tight between Natalia and Sarah for years. We don't. There's no surprise here that Natalia could very well have taken the title. I mean, we think this every year. I mean, it could be. It's Natalia and Sarah are both such strong competitors, and they both bring so much strength to the stage that we all wonder like what's gonna happen the day of the show. And I do not envy the judges on this at all, because this has to be one of the hardest battles and decisions that they have to make when they're looking at these girls on stage. But going through the top 10, we have Natalia Coelho take her second title, Sarah Villegas, who, let's not forget, she is 3-time, correct? 3-time.
I thought she was. I was a little confused on that.
Is she 3 or
she was? If she had won, she was going to break the record. That so we have to go and make sure we get that information. Maybe someone because I felt like she was saying that she was
Sarah's
going
won
to
so many Olympias, we've lost track.
Yes, I thought it was.
She's Miss Olympia so many times that we have lost track.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Go ahead.
Because I mean, she's a perennial champion. Zalma Benta, third. Brittany Herrera, fourth. Sharonica Henton in that fifth spot. So happy for her. Barbara Menage in sixth. Our French woman. Nana Silva, seventh. Megan Barbara in eighth. Paula Ranta, who's come all the way from figure, and she's now top 10 in women's physique. And even Pennington in that 10th spot. So great lineup, extremely strong. And these are the women we've been talking about. All the ones that we felt like we're going to be in the mix, we're in the mix. We just didn't really know exactly where they were going to land. But we did do a lot of the predictions were pretty spot on with this group of women. That's what you meant when you said it's predictable, but we didn't really know exactly where everyone was going to land, right?
Right. Well, I'm looking real quick to confirm with you. Sarah won her first Olympia in 2020. Then she won 21. She placed second in 22. She won 23 and she won 24. So this would have been her fifth Olympia. That's what I thought she said. It was her fifth. Right. So she won 4. She's 4 times Ms. Olympia, women's physique. And again, I know because I never forget how many I won, but people forget all the time, and I'm like, that's okay. It's a good problem to have.
I know when you win so many Olympias and people lose track, is that,
Yeah, right. It's a good problem to have. Yeah, but again, I'm going to tell you, see, I watched prejudging and I was there and I sat next to a couple people, judges, and I had some friends, and it was pretty unanimous that they said, "Oh, Natalia, she's winning this." And I was like, wow, like they felt strongly that she was more on point, and so the one guy said, well, you're a judge. I know you know what you're looking at. He wasn't judging this round, but he said that to me, and I think that me being a Ms. Olympia, with the title, it's one of those things. I have a certain feeling toward both women. And, I felt a certain way when Natalia lost to Sarah. And then I feel a certain way with Sarah being the reigning champion, you just kind of like, it's so close. But when I look here at the upper body, that it does, I can see how from the front, Natalia beats her.
Right.
Would you say that?
Yes, I think they both have their strengths. I think Sarah, she's known for having that superior conditioning in her lower body, absolutely, and I would argue that that's the case here. I really like the way that Natalia sets up her front pose. I think it looks natural and relaxed, even though I know that this cannot be a natural feeling pose. She makes it look so natural, the way that she sits in that pose. And her shape is so phenomenal. Both ladies look incredible and they both have their strengths. But I would say that Natalia is edging Sarah out on that shot for her. And then we go through. Okay, so another one when it comes to the front double biceps. I feel like Sarah has a little bit more lat in her, and she's almost pulling, again, like mentioning before, she's almost pulling herself up and stretching her lats out. Where you see Natalia, she's really dropping down her lats, and you can see them have that drop down, and it really emphasizes the shape. What do you think?
Yeah, I just feel like for both of them, I always, when I look at them from the front, it's hard to not look at Natalia's, like, way her waist looks so small. Like, you have Sarah usually she's like very much upright, like very like
Yeah.
up. And Natalia, I agree with what you're saying. She kind of like sits kind of back in it a little.
Yeah.
What I'm saying. But here the tan and the cuts and the it's when you go back and forth between the two, there's more going on Natalia's physique, especially I'm gonna say in the upper body, and her abs are just like really chiseled out. Like if you look at her
Yeah.
midsection, um,
Hmm.
that's what I see.
Yeah. She is a smaller competitor, so the case could be made that, Sarah has a little bit more development and maybe a
Mhm.
little bit more conditioning in her lower body. But Natalia, her whole overall package, it just really flows so nicely and it's so balanced. She's perfectly balanced. And that's one thing that judges have said to her before is, you need to come in more balanced. Maybe some body parts were falling behind. And she came in this time and I feel like she brought the most balanced package I've ever seen her bring from top to
Mhm.
bottom. And that's
Mhm.
where he was really able to edge it out when it came to hitting that pose just right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then we have this is where this pose is
yes.
interesting. Um, we have Natalia's caught up in the lower body. That's another area that the judges have given her feedback about. But if you look at her quads, look at how much they're sweeping here. And then you
Okay.
look at Sarah's
Wow.
quads here. See what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, I
Um,
do.
Sarah has superior glutes for sure than Natalia. I think Natalia could build a little bit more in the glute area to match Sarah's. But I think overall balance is there when it comes to the quads flaring
Mhm.
out, the hamstrings, the calves are balanced out. I mean, look at the whole lower body symmetry is completely balanced. And then we work up the physique, which we have to do because these women are so close. People have to understand we're dissecting this because they're literally, I mean, we're splitting hairs
Yeah,
between these two women.
I'm gonna say for me, between the two at every Olympia, um, I think when they are to the rear, like I love the way Sarah's upper body matches her lower body, meaning in structure. Like when you look at there's more looks like more lines and definition and stuff going on in Natalia's back. But when you look at Sarah's upper body in comparison to her lower body, it's like the two really go together and they flow.
Mhm.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like her rhomboid, her going down to her waist, the two go together. If you just cut off and you look at Natalia's lower body in comparison to Sarah's lower body, like there's almost like you got the same thing going on. But then when you
Mhm.
go up and you look at Natalia's physique, her upper body, it's like her muscles, they're closer together. Like you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, so I've always, when I look at the two of them from the front, Natalia to me has won, she wins. When I look at
Yeah.
them from the rear and I look at Sarah's structure, the way her upper body, the size and her proportion to her lower body, I feel like is more in alignment, if I
Yep.
could say it that way. Yeah. I don't know if
Yeah. I
you see what
mean,
I'm saying there, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think we can look at some body parts that Natalia has that are superior, like her quads are sweeping out more.
Yes.
But I think
Yes.
overall, I do think that Sarah has this shot just because there's a little bit more depth, a little bit more
Mhm.
development
Yes.
in the glute
Yes.
area, and then there's a little bit more balance from top to
Yes.
bottom when it comes to
Correct.
Sarah's.
I agree with you
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed out, like, looking at, Natalia's sweep on her quads, that's amazing
Yeah, look at
right
that.
there. Look at
That
that
looks
sweep. Yeah.
gorgeous.
Never really,
I
like,
mean,
noticed that, but you're right on point.
to be the champion and to still have things that you can continue to work on for the next Olympia is the most exciting feeling. I mean, can you imagine if Natalia next Olympia comes with even better? I mean, a little bit more development in her glutes, a little more depth in her back. I mean, we're looking at somebody who could become an undefeated champion for years to come.
Yes.
There's still room for improvement on her physique, which is incredible.
Yes.
So this is all the best news that anybody could possibly have.
Yes.
But yeah, we do have Sarah winning that shot.
Yes.
And then when it comes to the side chest,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say here?
Yep, and then here's a side chest. I think Natalia just has a lot of lot more depth, like lines, a lot more going on more. Look at the separation, like if you're looking at like the shoulders, with the shoulders
Yeah.
down into with the tricep, looks
Yeah.
like Natalia is sharper there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like the way she's setting up the pose. She's sinking into that leg, sitting into it. I think it
Mm-hmm.
showcases a little bit more shape. Like if you look at
Mm-hmm.
the shoulder, the waist, and the glute, I look at those as like 3 dots. A dot here, a dot here, and a dot here. If we were to kind of line those dots up, we would see a really dramatic curve. And that curve aesthetically, is really appealing to the eyes. And it gives you that V taper and that X frame shape more dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we were talking about being more upright. I almost wonder if she bent this leg and let this quad flare out, that would actually make her shape look even crazier.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows what she's doing.
Yes,
But
and she does. She poses more. She's more very up. Very
Yeah.
posture is very.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love Sarah's look. Loved her
I do
hair,
too. I was
and I
this
kept
is
looking at her
right
hair.
there.
I thought her hair was gorgeous.
She did a good job with her overall look for sure. Very
Very
that
polished.
was
Very
yeah,
polished.
very polished, very beautiful. I love this connection. I love the way her quad flares out here.
Beautiful.
So
Mm-hmm.
that could be what she was going for. She knows what she's doing. She's
Yes,
trying to
that's what
showcase
I'm
her strengths.
And that's what I'm saying with her and her way she poses. I mean, I think that's beautiful. Just her
Yeah.
lines, her upper body connection is just a difference because she's more to the side here versus
Yeah.
Natalia's kind of turned a little twisted more towards us with her. If you
Mhm.
look at her lower body, like you can see Natalia's other leg there.
Right.
Whereas with
Right.
the pose that Sarah's doing, you can't see her thigh there, but the judges aren't looking for that other thigh. They're looking at what's coming closest to them. They're looking in this pose at your chest and your
Right.
small waist, and they're looking at your glutes and your quads. They're not
Yep.
really looking to see what's going on the other side. So that
I
could
do
be
envy the judges. Oh man. I mean, we're it's so difficult. I do not envy the judges one bit.
yes. So who do we have in
So
third and
let's
fourth?
actually
Okay, yeah, let's dive in there.
I'm gonna take this down really quick, and I want to talk about Zama versus Brittany. Okay, we have our third and
Brittany
fourth.
took a break, and I think Brittany won Texas, and then she competed in Atlanta. She placed second in Atlanta. She just always had this just amazing structure, little tiny waist, and
Oh man,
nice flare in her quads. And Zama is just known for bringing the conditioning.
I was so impressed with these women, both of them. I was like, I mean, I've been watching them and been following their journeys, and I knew that they were both going to look incredible. But both of them brought such beautiful packages. I have to say, I really liked Zama's suit. I thought it looked really good with her overall look. I liked the teal. I liked the design. I thought she looked beautiful. I really did.
Yeah. Beautiful structures. I'm glad to see. I'm not sure if that's the highest that Brittany's placed at the Olympia. Have to go and look at her bio, but I just remember her from being on the circuit and seeing her in Tampa and different shows, and she did take a break. But yeah,
Well, I know
congratulations,
that
Zama. Yeah.
so Zama was 5th last year, and she was 3rd in 2023. So this is the second
Okay.
time she's taken top 3. Um,
Okay.
and
She
then
was
we
fifth
have,
last year and she's third. Yes. Okay.
yeah. And then we had, so uh, Brittany was, I don't have results for her from 2024, but placing
Yeah,
4th.
because I believe she did not compete. I believe she
Okay.
took a break. Yeah. So when I saw her at my show in Atlanta, I was like, wow, I just remember seeing you. Yeah, look at her. She's beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that little tiny, tiny waist.
Oh man,
Yeah, both of
that
these
waist is
ladies.
so tiny from the front and from the back. My goodness. I
Mhm,
mean, her physique is honestly reminiscent of yours, Linda.
mhm. Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
perfect proportions,
mhm.
round muscle
Great
bellies.
back
I mean,
development.
it just
She
flows.
looks
To me,
amazing.
yeah, to me, her physique just flows so nicely.
Mhm. Well,
And
what's nice, yeah, I agree. And what's nice is that, I always talk about when we look at athletes on paper, when you just look at like when the list comes out and I see a name like Zama, I always know she's going to bring it. So it's nice that
yeah,
Brittany's there now. If I see Brittany's name on the list, I'm like, uh-oh, there's Zama, there's Brittany. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And that's
yep,
always a good
yep.
thing.
Exactly. And I want to talk about, Sharonica. I wanted to compare Sharonica to Brittany because
Hmm.
I think they both have similar shapes and structures. And Sharonica is someone who we see as a rising star in this division.
Hmm.
And when you see her next to Brittany, the good thing is you can really see there's certain things. If Sharonica works behind the scenes on some of these things, she's going to be another one that we're looking at as a cream that rises to the top.
Hmm.
Um, she's hiding a little bit, but she just needs a little bit more leg development, a little bit development overall, but she brings such a beautiful package that she's always going to find herself in the top because
Hmm.
she's so well put together and she stands
Yes.
out like a sore thumb on stage every time she goes on stage. So with a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of improvement, she's going to keep on
Yeah.
trudging to,
Yeah. She's such great at her presentation. She's
oh my gosh, her
coach and
posing is,
poses and teaches posing. And several of, I believe, the ladies on the stage, she's helped them with their posing. So, like, yeah, she's just really incredible. I think the difference between the two, the flare on the quads, like you can see a little bit more flare on Brittany's quads. Also, Brittany's back is there. Brittany,
yeah.
look at the thickness and development in her back.
Yeah, but how awesome is this, Sharonica? Sharonica, you do your homework, girl, because I know you will. If you get these lats to flare out more, you're gonna be
Mhm,
unstoppable.
mhm,
A little bit
mhm.
more here, a little bit more
Yep,
here, and we're just like, we are there.
yep.
We
You're
are
right
there.
on. You're right on. Yep, I agree with you. I
Um,
agree with you 100%,
and she has really
Yeah,
pretty glutes too. I think
she
her glutes
does.
just, and
I
that,
love her glutes.
yeah, and sometimes, and I hate to say it, but genetically, some people are just so gifted in the way their muscles insert and the way that they flare out. And she was genetically gifted, and there's a lot of hard work that goes behind this. So I'm not ascribing it to genetics at all, but genetically, she has such a beautiful tie-in, and the way that her glutes just kind of flare out, it's so pretty looking. And that's something that with just as she continues to improve is going to keep being her strengths.
Yeah, I think it's such a strength though, like what you're talking about with her glutes, for her glutes
Yeah,
to have, because some have more development on the top of their glutes, but I think that this makes her waistline is just more streamlined and flows so much better when you just look at the
right.
small waist and then you go down
Yep.
past the glutes to her quads. there's not a distraction of bulky, uh,
Mhm.
development on the top of the glute.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, and I've
there was a
seen she just constantly improves.
I know, I know. We have Paula Renta, and then we have Megan here. This is from finals where they were comparing, I believe this is 5th, 10th.
Hmm.
And we're seeing, all the ladies that made it into that top 10. Again, such an incredible lineup. One thing I will say across the board in the women's physique division, I feel like there's definitely been a lot more emphasis placed on keeping that midsection nice and tight,
Mm.
seeing prettier shapes emerge across the board. I think everyone in that top 10 is just starting to look more aesthetically sound and just have more flow. So I feel like I don't know, and maybe tell me what you think, but do you think it's in all the beautiful shapes coming out? And we saw this with men with the 212, we saw it with classic physique. When these divisions came out, we saw the men bodybuilders shape started to get a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. I agree with you 100%. I mean, women's physique, they definitely, we need to see beautiful small waists, nice
Yeah.
lines. There's no
And
room
we're seeing
for
that.
what we see, what we can see in women's bodybuilding or in men's bodybuilding. You expect to see something different from classic physique men so I just do think that, I mean, I no question the judges did amazing. They did amazing this year. I mean, I think across the board on all of the divisions. When
Yeah.
you really break it down and you start to look at every
Yeah.
athlete, and
Yeah.
that's awesome for Brittany to be there. I
I
would love to go
know.
back and look at her
Look at that shape.
history, but wow, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
amazing.
these women, these top four, they definitely separated themselves, I think, with their overall
Mm,
presentations and beauty and shape
yes.
and symmetry. Definitely physiques to look up to and to admire and want to be like. So for any women who are in the women's physique division, looking at these four women as kind of like your rubric for this is my goal, this is where I want to be. I think all four women, a case could be made for all four of them. This is
Hmm.
what you want. This is what you
Yes,
want to go
yes.
for.
Yeah, yeah. Well, congratulations to all four, and congratulations to Natalia for recapturing the Ms. Olympia Women's Physique title. You guys are great champions. And to all of you out there, thank you for joining us for this third recap of women's physique and women's bodybuilding. We love you. Thank you for your support. And we will see you again. We're going to be on the scene earlier, right? That's our
Yes,
plan.
we're gonna come
Like
on earlier.
today at
Stay
10 a.m.
tuned.
Yeah.
We have some
Yeah.
exciting announcements to make about our show, so stay tuned for all of it. We're going to bring you only the best, and we will see you all later.
Ladies and gentlemen.